The Battle of Gods continues in this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. This week's episode of DBS was an action-packed, muscle-flexing, over-the-top action anime experience that must be seen by all Dragon Ball fans. What's most interesting about this episode is that this battle still is not done yet. I honestly thought that they were going to finish the battle between Goku and Beerus in this week's episode, but oh no, this was just a mere warm-up to the finale of their battle in next week's episode, which looks like it's going to be over the top, taking place in the stratosphere of Earth. This week's episode, however, was still pretty ridiculous, and what I really loved about it is how different it is from the Battle of Gods movie version, which in their battle, they basically just sort of fought all over the planet. They started in the city, then they worked their way to the forest, and then into the mountains, then to the ocean, then into the bottom of the ocean, and then finally up into the stratosphere of Earth. And here it's not as over the top, but it still has some really funny fighting choreography. I say funny because there's a lot of scenes this week that are just ridiculous, especially because of the expressions from Goku and Beerus. In particular, this one scene where he literally kicks Beerus and sends him flying across the clouds. But there is still some amazing fighting choreography in this week's episode, which is really hard-hitting and very impactful. And for the most part, Beerus just completely destroys Goku. As much as I want to say that Goku had a lot of good hits this week, every single time he does hit Beerus, at least according to the Elder Kai and everything, Beerus is letting Goku hit him. I don't know why he's being so over the top in the way he's actually being hit, but really he just seems like he's trying to draw out Goku's power so that he can have a real battle, which basically that's the whole point of this week's episode, is he's trying to make him even stronger than he was before so that he can really go all out against Goku. And even then, I don't think Beerus is going to go all out. But really, this week's episode was just really simple. Just Bulma and their group in the spacecraft following the battle and never really catching up, Vegeta still just hanging out on the ship and watching from afar, and Goku and Beerus just beating the living crap out of each other. But there are some memorable moments. In particular, I love this one scene where Beerus does this attack where he'll just touch Goku, and it's followed by this massive golden explosion. And as he's flying around the clouds, he'll instantly just get right in front of him and do the attack continuously, and then he decides to finish him off by grabbing him in the face, causing the explosion while flying downwards and exploding into a nearby island. It was classic Dragon Ball action at its best. Beerus then proceeds to literally headbutt Goku continuously until they're floating in the stratosphere of Earth, and this is where they have another big standoff. This is where we start to see some big ki and energy attacks. And Beerus does this one where he creates this, galaxy-looking energy ball, and he actually, bats it around like a soccer ball. He kicks it, he bounces it on his head, and he even kicks it right at Goku, who manages to destroy it with one of his ki blasts. And that's when they have this big standoff where Beerus creates hundreds of these things and ends up sending all of them at Goku, and at the same time, Goku can't let any of these attacks hit the Earth, because if they do, Earth is pretty much screwed. Goku is able to destroy all of these attacks, however, when he powers up a big Super Saiyan God-styled Kamehameha and blasts all of them into oblivion, and that just pumps Beerus up even more as they're getting ready to start their true final battle. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? Simple and fun, which is exactly what Dragon Ball should be, especially during its action scenes. This one is one of those episodes where really all I have to say is just kick back, relax, and watch all of the cool action scenes and the really funny moments between Beerus and Goku. They both seem to be having a really good time during this battle, and both of their personalities clashing with each other is great, especially Beerus, who is such a fun, condescending villain. He has so much fun getting under Goku's skin, and yet at the same time, this is just an excuse for Goku to try and get stronger as he wants to continue to test the limits of his will. Also, just some of the choreography this week looked really good, a lot of hard, impacting scenes. Despite the fact that Beerus is letting Goku hit him, whenever Goku does actually attack, it looks really awesome, especially that first scene where he appears right behind him and then suddenly he punches him right in the gut. And it almost seems like it hurts Beerus at first, but then he just starts laughing. And again, that's what's so interesting about the character of Beerus as well, is because he's not exactly a bad guy either. He's a character that you can genuinely like as well. And he really is continuing to grow on me because he's such an amazingly ridiculous character and over the top in every single fashion. My favorite scene this week, though, aside from probably the Beerus attacking Goku scene with the big explosions, was probably when he was bouncing his attacks on his head and tail. That just looked so ridiculous, and you could tell that he was having such a good time because he hasn't ever had to go all out in such a long time. Still, this was just a fun episode. Simple as that. If you want some more awesome action, check out this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. You will definitely see something you like. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 5 out of 5. I was pretty damned entertained by the entire thing. It was just solid action, typically from beginning to end, with a few small moments with Bulma and their group, but they didn't intrude too much. Really, this was truly a battle of gods. So before you guys leave this week, I want to hear your thoughts about this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. Please tell me in the comments section below what you think about the battle between Goku and Beerus. How do you think it's going to end? Do you think it's going to be a straight retelling of Battle of Gods, or do you think there's going to make some other big alterations? And what do you hope to see from the rest of Dragon Ball Super? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!